Welcome to Mazungumzo, African Scholarly Conversations, a podcast that highlights the perspectives of various stakeholders in academia and research fields across Africa through open dialogue or Mazungumzo on scholarly communication in Africa.
Welcome to Mazungumzo, African Scholarly Conversations. And this is a podcast hosted by TCC Africa. And what we do, we bring an expansive list of African policymakers, science communication specialists, innovators, and tertiary institution leads who contribute to the realm of scholarly communication and science communication. I'm your host, Joy Owango, the Executive Director of the Training Center in Communication, based at the University of Nairobi, Kenya. So join us today as we invite Dr. Anthony Cobblah from Ghana, who holds the positions of the chair for academic and special libraries at the African Library and Information Associations and Institutions, popularly known as AFLIA, as well as the University Librarian and Lecturer at the University of Cape Coast in Ghana. Dr. Cobblah will be sharing with us his insights on librarianship and leadership, especially when it comes to promoting open science within the realm of scholarly communication in African universities. Welcome, Dr. Cobblah.
Thank you very much, Joy. It's a privilege once again speaking to you on these issues.
Oh, fantastic. Fantastic. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining us. And you just told me that you're still in the United Kingdom after taking part in the UKSG conference in Scotland.
Yes,
Could you take us through your experience on that conference, what you were doing? Were you giving a talk? What did you learn from that conference before we get into the podcast properly?
Yes, it was really a great privilege being part of that conference. And I was speaking on increasing the visibility of sustainable research of Africa. And I was happy that I was the second person to speak on the first plenary session. And the response was great. Some of these things were not known to them, and they were happy to hear the African story. And we had a lot of people that are ready to collaborate with us on some of the initiatives that we are doing in Africa. It was a great opportunity to tell the African story to the world. And I'm happy for the opportunity. I really enjoyed the conference.
Okay. All right. So for context, everybody, the UKSG conference is the 46th annual conference and exhibition, which was held in Glasgow.
Yes.
Yes. And it is an annual conference, which is a major event in the scholarly communications calendar, which attracts delegates each year from around the world. So including librarians, publishers, content providers, consultants, and intermediaries. So you felt that this was a very great opportunity for you to talk about the activities that are happening in Africa in regards to scholarly communication.
Yeah, it was. And I was happy they prioritized my presentation, that of a friend from Nigeria, because they felt that in the past, they didn't hear more about Africa and what's going on in Africa. So So I spoke as the second person on the first plenary, and everybody was interested to hear about Africa, and I was happy. I was happy about the collaborations that are coming up after the conference, even from some publishers and some other people were interested in funding our projects.
Oh, that is good news. That is indeed good news.
It's good news for us.
Oh yes. Oh yes.
Good news for us. Yeah.
And now that gets us right into the podcast proper. So as someone who has worked as an academic librarian for more than two decades, can you tell us what motivated you to pursue a career in this field initially? Moreover, could you shed some light on the difficulties and the rewards that come with your line of work?
Yes, some of us came into this profession by default. It was not really planned. I had not sat down and planned to become a librarian. I wanted to do something else when I was in school. But actually, I had to do this because of an initial plan to study in the US. And a friend of mine, a Reverend Father friend of mine who was based in the US, asked me to study librarianship so that when I come, I can get some job on campus. You see, so it wasn't intended for me to become a librarian. But ask me, if you look at my CV, I've studied in other areas like MBA, Masters in Business Administration, Human Resource Management. But I've always liked to remain, and I got a job with Bank of Ghana. That's one of the most lucrative place to work in Ghana. I got a job in 2020 to come and work there. But I still turn it down because I love what I do. I enjoy what I do as a librarian. So the motivation was not there initially, but when I got into it, I've enjoyed every time I spent in the past 23, 24 years as a librarian. And if I'm to come to the next word, I will still be a librarian. So, so sometimes I tell people that, yeah, there was no motivation initially. I got into it by default, but I've not regretted any day for being a librarian. Yes.
Interesting. So you became a librarian by default, and you ended up doing studying other,
yes.
Focusing on other research areas, but then found yourself gravitating toward librarianship.
Yes.
So what have been the rewards of choosing being a librarian?
In fact, you see, my greatest joy is to see people that I've helped, and they meet me and they tell me, you contributed to my career, you contributed to my training. My greatest reward, I look at the outside one before I come to myself, is when I meet people that I've helped, I've supported, I've counseled, I've encouraged, and they are now at great places and they are doing well. I feel rewarded that it has paid off, this effort has paid off. And personally, the exposure I've had in this career and the people I've met, the people I've worked with across the world, and if you go into my CV, as early as a few years into my career, I started traveling outside and participating in a number of things. I am a product of Stimulate. I'm a product of Danida ALA Career Development Projects. I'm a product of OCSC Early Career Fellowship. Several initiatives that I've participated across the world that exposed me to what is going on in the world. And I feel rewarded, and that I worked myself for the past 2 decades to get into the peak of my career. I become a university librarian, work with universities, authority, work as what you didn't know, I forgot to mention, was that I'm also the chair of the Consortium of Academic Research Libraries in Ghana. And I provide leadership for about 50 libraries in providing access to resources. And all these things, I feel motivated. I feel rewarded for what I've done. And I'm happy for my achievement up to now.
So you found yourself right in the middle of librarianship and then getting into leadership in supporting not only the academic community, but also librarians and academic institutions that have librarians, not only in Ghana, but also in the continent. And this is how you ended up becoming the chair of the academic and special libraries at the African Library and Information Associations and Institutions, AFLIA.
That's right.
So
that's right.
What have you learned, and what have you learned so far by being in this position, and how has it shaped your sense of your priorities in terms of the activities that you host as the chair of the academic special libraries at AFLIA, particularly when it comes to open science?
Yes, if I remember, there's one presentation at the conference I just attended, and one person who was a librarian saying that librarians are able to cooperate more than any other profession. At the moment I wasn't sure whether what he was saying was true, but when I talked through the journey of my career and the many associations that we have and how we collaborate, I was tempted to agree with him. I think one important achievement that I can talk about is the collaboration that we've been able to establish amongst ourselves on the continent and even with other groups outside the continent. So one great achievement is that we've been able to collaborate. This network of AFLIA is wider than any other network. As many academic libraries in Africa that are interested, and we're even reaching out to those who don't know about it. And if we're able to achieve even 60–80% of academic libraries in Africa coming together to collaborate on this AFLIA platform and share ideas and resources, I'm sure Africa continent will be a different place, because we are dealing with knowledge and we are managing knowledge. And if we collaborate and know how to disseminate, how to strategize and share knowledge on our continent, I'm sure Africa will be a better place. So there are benefits to these networks that we are leading.
Good. And what is AFLIA doing right now in promoting open science amongst its members in the continent? Because this is a continental organization. So what are you doing?
We are doing a lot. To start with, we AFLIA executive, AFLIA management, members of AFLIA subscribe to the concept of open science. We believe fully in it, and we think it's the way to go. And we've been doing a lot of promotion, awareness creation. As libraries, I'm sure this is part of the question I'm going to ask. There's the major role we can play in promoting open science is awareness creation, capacity building of researchers on information management. And I think AFLIA is doing that. I think from being an advocate for open science, I am beginning to think that we need to do more, honestly, because it looks like we are not doing more in Africa. And I've done a few things, and I think I have to spend more time in promoting open science, and I think I will take it up to my section. We think we'll do more, but we've been doing a lot of awareness creation, capacity building, and what is within our capacity. We've been doing that. Thank you.
Okay. Now, when it comes to open science and open access, it has become increasingly significant for any flourishing academic environment to adopt this practice. How do African academic libraries perceive and engage with these concepts? And how do you see the role of libraries in Africa are evolving to support the future of learning in this context?
Yes, as I said at the conference, some of these things are just cultural issues. You see, people, I find it very difficult to accept this open science idea, because you know what happens in Africa. Everybody wants to be the first to come up with something, and the habit of sharing is a bit of a problem for us, even within our universities. I mean, you know what happens. People don't want to know what they are doing. So I think that we need to highlight the benefit, and of course the benefit of open science to even the researchers. See the benefit, because it's going to bring a lot of efficiency, and avoid cut down duplications.
Sure.
See? I mean, if there's a database of if there is a bank of data somewhere in Africa that you can just go and access free of charge in your research, you cut down the cost of going to the field to collect data, bothering the people. If you have the opportunity to collaborate with another researcher in elsewhere in the world, it gives a better understanding of your situation. You understand? I mean, let me just tell you this. There was a presentation on racism and inequalities at the conference among the universities in the UK. It's a brilliant, very good presentation. And the question I ask is, can we also look at a comparative study of how we also look at it in Africa? You understand? How do we also look at racism in Africa? Because we also have our own type of racism, ethnic differences and all kinds of
That
things.
is true. We actually have
And
our own type of
we have our own type.
bias. Yes, ethnic,
Well, but it looks like we are just highlighting
tribalism.
the
Yes.
white-black one, the white-black one.
Yeah,
Even within the black, we have our own racism there.
that is
You
true.
understand?
That is
Yes.
true.
So I think that we need to let, the understanding hasn't come. And most of our universities don't have open science policies. They don't even have. And my university don't have. I'm now working on one. And when I was trying to even put everything we have through a project I go with AFL on the web, all our journals on the web, some of the journals were fighting me that, what about their selling of their journals? What is going to happen? I said, you are not selling again. Everything is free now. We are benefiting from the free things, and which let's make the few things that we publish free of charge.
That is true.
So you see that we have a lot of work to do in terms of convincing the people, the researchers, the scholars, the scientists, to even understand and accept the concept. And it's about taking our time to engage them and targeting the kind of awareness creation strategy that we need to have, targeting them in groups and making sure we sell the concept to them even more than we are doing now.
So do you think it's more of also a behavioral change? It's also a behavioral change. There's a need for a behavioral change other than a cultural change. It's a behavioral change.
Yes, a behavioral change. And one thing we need to highlight, and that was the center, the main thing I wanted to bring across, is that we need to do this for the next generation.
That is true. That is very true.
Yes, if you don't care, if we are selfish and we don't think about the next generation, Joy, in the next 50 years, most of us will not be here again.
We'll be in trouble.
And what legacy are we leaving for the next generation? What are we leaving for them? That's the issue. So we need to get this. We need to get involved in research that have sustainability impact, research that can transcend or live beyond our generation. You see, so all this that we are doing, it's all preparing us to leave something down for the next generation.
And this is, you're right, Mark, because you see, we're in a stage where we can actually change the narrative on higher education in Africa. We're in a stage where we can actually change the narrative on the visibility of African research output. And open science is what is going to help us do that. So we cannot be fighting, we cannot be having internal fights when we know there's this opportunity that has just arisen to help in increasing the visibility of African research. And also, and this is something that will help the next generation, as you said. We are actually creating that foundation for the next generation. We want more African researchers investing in Africa to do their research. We want more collaborations happening in Africa. And the only way that can happen is by showcasing our work, or publishing in open platforms, that can help increase the visibility of our output, showcasing our innovations, using infrastructure, open science infrastructure that could help mitigate the high costs that come with scholarly communication infrastructure, So these are small aspects. I call them small because if you add them up, it's just one big support system, ecosystem that will help in increasing the visibility of African research, creating a good foundation, as you say, for the future generation.
Yes. Yeah. Point well made. I agree with you totally on this. Yes.
Yeah. On that, I'm really passionate about it. So I get where you're also coming from on that part.
Yes, of course.
So now, in your experience, what is your attitude and perception of African researchers towards librarians in Africa? How can librarians effectively engage with researchers to promote open science? And the context for this is also the evolution of the librarian. The librarian today is no longer seen as the one who only buys books. You're now seen as a digital librarian. You've literally evolved. So what is your perception in that whole ecosystem right now? You're seen as knowledge managers within institutions. So take me through how we see you as librarians and how we now work with you effectively to make sure that the higher education ecosystem has a seamless workflow.
Yeah, my personal opinion, yes, I think the situation is improving. In the past, where the faculty, sometimes let me call them the faculty or the researchers, seem to see librarians are just people who must be in the library, must buy books and be there. And I think with the digitization and all the emerging things that are happening, the trend is changing. You have no idea for the past weeks that I've been out of office, the number of calls I've had, the number of messages I'm getting from my university, and
I can imagine.
some of them even to do with the appointment and promotion board want me to check something for them on some publications, a whole lot of things. And in my university, I'm leading the digitization of the university beyond even the research papers. We are also digitizing the university administrative documents as well.
Right.
So, and my office is also managing the scholarly communication issues. The scholarly communication office is in the library. That's where we are also trying to digitize university journals and all those things. So increasingly, our role is expanding as librarians. We've gone beyond just collection development. Our role is expanding. Oh, meanwhile, let me maybe at the end of it, let me just I'll do that. We've lost one of the greatest librarians brain in Ghana. She died yesterday.
Oh no.
So I'll have to pay tribute to you at the end of this with your permission.
Oh, that's
so
okay.
the collection is expanding. We are moving beyond just collection development. You know, initially it was about collection development. Now it's about the service orientation. We have even moved towards service orientation than just buying books and staying and managing the books. The road is changing, you understand? And as the road change and expand, and we work closely with the faculty, the situation is improving, you understand? But I think faculty, library, collaboration, and engagement, there's still room for improvement. I still think that we still have room for improvement. But we need to clearly understand our role and know the role of the faculty. You understand?
Right.
That's also very. I mean, now some of the academic librarians are also teaching. Yes, they are teaching, but they still have to understand that they teach very minimal hours. But in my university, most of them are teaching. But beyond the teaching, the practice, there's a professional practice as well, and we need to know our rules. But I think largely on a larger scale, the librarian, the new emerging librarian, who is not clearer to even the faculty, and the collaboration is improving,
right?
And they are beginning to understand that we are there to support their work. We are not competing with them. We are just there to support their work and make their work. What I want to do, I was happy whilst I was presenting. One of the participants who know one of the big professors in my university took a picture and sent to the professor. The professor sent me the picture back that, Mark, thank you for, and I was wearing my university's system and university dress, and the professor sent me a mail, was so proud I'm selling my university there. And I said, yeah, of course. Whatever I have the opportunity, I have to sell the university.
That is true.
So I think the collaboration, I'm happy, but I think we still have to work on it and get it even better.
Okay. All right then. So now, what are the sustainable strategies that you would propose to university librarians to leverage changes taking place in scholarly communication? Bearing in mind, when I talk about changes in scholarly communication, there's quite a lot that has happened with the rise of preprints. We are much more aware of repositories, the use of repositories. There's increased awareness on how to leverage on digital object identifiers for harvesting metadata. So what sustainable strategies would you propose to university libraries leverage on these changes when it comes to to leverage on these changes that are taking place currently in scholarly communication, especially that aid, these changes that aid in increasing the visibility of the output of the institutions?
And it's a very, very, very good question. And I hope that as many librarians that will hear this interview will really agree with me. In fact, the way the world is going, the way the scholarly communication industry is going, we cannot continue to do things the same old ways. No. We can't. If we are to survive, if we are to be able to deliver our services and even meet the demands of the new generation, then we need to change our way of doing things. I think libraries, first of all, must invest heavily in ICT infrastructure. See, you can digitize, and you can talk about digitization or automation without adequate investment in ICT infrastructure.
I agree. I 100% agree on that.
We have to invest in, because the new scholarly communication is digital. That's all. And we need to also look at our training, our capacity building as librarians, because and that also has some implications on the library schools. They need to change their curriculum. You see, because I don't know about your place, but I don't know how much of the new things that are being taught the new librarians at school. You see, the last time I checked from my department at the University of Ghana, they haven't changed the curriculum so much. I mean, they are still teaching the old things, and I think it's about time we those practicing engage them and let them know that there's a need to review the curriculum and teach the students, the upcoming librarians, the new emerging things. They come to the job and they know nothing about what is happening in the practice. You understand? That's also very important. Then the issue about collaboration is another strategy we need to adopt. Collaboration has a lot to offer us in terms of efficiency, in terms of reduction of cost of operation, in terms of promoting and increasing the capacity of our lecturers to cope with the open science and contribute to it. So we need to also look at collaboration. That's why I'm happy that those of us who are the leadership on Africa platform and also Ghana, we need to make sure we have a lot to do in promoting collaboration, ensuring that we bring on board those who are still lagging behind. There are still some libraries who are struggling within the basic operations, yet alone moving into the new emerging trends. I think we need to bring everybody on board, because we need everybody. So that's also one thing we need to do. And apart from just creating awareness to the researchers and the scholars, and I use this word interchangeably, there's the need to also build their capacity. You see, for a researcher, a scientist to be able to participate in open science, they also need some skills. Skills like information management skills.
That is true. That is very true.
You can succeed. You can work in open science without having the skills, the basic skills to manage information.
Do you know?
It's all about, there's so much information there, so much people to contact, so much people to deal with, so much to read from, that you need to have the skills to navigate in that world. Then
what
also,
you're saying, hey,
yes.
Mark, do you know what you're saying is so true? Because we noticed, and when I say we, is TCC Africa. So we noticed we are setting up a project called the Africa PID Alliance, where we'll be providing African DOIs for African research output. So DOIs being produced locally in Africa, not receiving complete DOIs, but producing them in Africa. And when I'm listening to you talk, it just espouses what we noted. We do not have the capacity. We do not have the human resource capacity. It is so limited. Yes. It is so limited to the point that we either have to have more mentors from the global north to support us, but we have to make the deliberate actions to increase the human resource capacity of librarians or anyone who is working in scholarly communication infrastructure. We don't have many people in this field. So we are adopting open science, and we don't have many people who can actually help in implementing these infrastructural systems.
We don't.
And this is something that could actually be falling under the library because it's actually embedded within the information management systems that librarians would be learning or are learning, are meant to be learning. So you're right. There's a need to really increase that capacity. It's just not an infrastructural aspect of saying, yes, we are adopting open science. Yes, we need librarians to be familiar with this. But then we also need to look inward and build the HR, the human resource capacity, such that we have manpower that can manage these new resources that we are adopting. And also, which in turn will support the universities.
Yeah, we need to. There's a lot to be done. We have a lot to do, and we need to also make sure that one of the things that I pick up from the conference was this publishing models, open science publishing models. We need to look at developing something for Africa. And you know the issues about publishing in Africa. Sometimes my university will ask me, librarian, we want to publish. Sometimes the whole college, they want to publish this book. Can you recommend a credible publishing company in Ghana for us? Joy, I look, and even the university publishing press are down. They are not working. We have a university press. All the universities come together in Ghana, the public universities, to form a press. That was a very credible publishing press. It's collapsing.
Oh dear.
It's collapsing. And when sometimes I made them aware, when I told them, one person said, "Oh, but what about the printing press of?" I said, "The printing press is not a publishing house.
No, it's not a publishing house.
It's just a printing press."
That is something also people tend to confuse. A printing press is just that. It's a printing press. It's not a publishing house. Those are totally two different dynamics.
It doesn't know the difference between a printing press and a publishing house. You see? So you ask me now, I want to publish in a book, and can you get a permission for me in Ghana? I'm not able. There are some names I will call, but I'm not sure of their capacity to publish. So people send academic books to be published outside.
That is true.
The last time I checked, my university even made a mistake. They sent one to one of these, one German one, which is not even credible, to publish a book. Then it costs a lot of money. They pay a lot of euro to the publisher, and so much money. Was it about 30,000 euro thereabout? And that publishing house is one of the predatory publishing house. So you see what I tell you? If a whole university, and that's how come I told them at the academic board that please, some of these things come to us. Let's advise you on what you should do. You see?
Yeah.
I can understand that I will serve as a librarian for a university, and the whole college will go and publish a book from a German publisher, where the book was published and shipped together at a very high cost, and even the publisher is not even credible. You see, it was one of these predatory. So we have a lot to do in terms of building even the funding models for. What people don't know is that even though it's open science, somebody is paying for something. All we are saying is that even if you pay for it, don't think about recovering your money. Share. So yes, so I was telling my university that yes, if we subscribe to open science, then we need to, and I don't mind, the library can coordinate everything about open science in the university, but I need an additional budget for it.
That is true. You know, Mark, you are so pragmatic in this process because you see, it's true. Someone somewhere is paying for it. Let's not idealize it. Let's be pragmatic about it, so that the conversation can be about equity. So that even if the person who is paying for it is actually contributing to that process, it is something that is affordable, not over the top. You understand?
I agree.
Yeah.
Yes. And Mary, I got to know that dimension that you promote from Africa. Some libraries in the developed country are paying $100,000 for it.
Oh yes, and that is
that's what has been given to us free of charge.
Yep.
And we are not even using it.
And that's why we're really pushing. We're really pushing for it. Because you see, these are some of, you see, that's the thing. You have a lot of resources and you don't know what helps, what works. So that is why now as a center, we are really pushing for some of these resources that we know are so good. They have more content on African research and African output so that we can use this, So yeah, I do get where you're coming from. Yeah, I do get where you're coming from.
Currently, we have a lot given to us free of charge, but we don't even know. When I heard that some people are paying $100,000 US for Dimension, I said, wait a minute, this is what has been given to us, and we are struggling to get people to use it. We know how much it costs to subscribe to Scopus Web of Science. This one is free.
Yep.
And it has a lot of, a lot of data in it. And we're not even using this.
And it has the largest amount of African data as compared to these other platforms. Yeah, exactly. It has the largest amount. But
we have work to do.
Yeah. But as you said, it's a behavioral change. People need to we need to look inward and see what we want to achieve from these new trends. And
very important.
We should not politicize the process because, as you say, this is for our generation. These foundations you're going to create will support the generation, the future. It will support the future academics who will definitely be using these resources. Who will help in increasing the output coming out of the continent, leveraging on the output to create collaborations, and building a knowledge economy. So,
yeah, that's true.
Yeah. And as we are winding up, Mark, could you tell us what is AFLIA's vision for the future of open science in Africa, and how do you see it developing over the next few years?
Yeah, the vision, I mean, as I said earlier, we 100% support the concept. We subscribed to the idea. We believe in it. Our vision is to promote it to academic libraries and other research institutions in Africa, promote open science, and ensure that in the nearest possible future, open science become the practice of our universities and our research institutions.
Right.
And what we are going to do is the role as librarian, we are going to promote it as never before. We are going to collaborate with a like-minded organization like yours.
Thank you.
That is doing so well on this, and many other ones in the developed countries. We are going to get AFL. We're going to get them and see how best we can also build capacity for both librarians and our researchers.
True.
And anything we do, we are going to get the policy makers on board. We're going to work with AAU, Association of African Universities, and all the related institutions, the university authorities, the students themselves who are agents of change.
Yep.
We're going to reach out to them and promote open science. And we are going to collaborate in building the infrastructure because, as I said, we don't have the money. So even in the building of the infrastructure, we need to collaborate. You understand?
That is true. You can't work alone on this process.
We can't be duplicating and spending the same money doing the same things. Let some develop capacity here, some develop here, and we all share. You
that is true. That is true.
We're going to do, we're going to do that. And there's a future. So long as people like us, people like you, and a few other people are beginning to take it up. I told them at the conference, call me an advocate for open science. I am going to leave it and work for it. You know, can you believe initially I didn't really believe in it. I thought that something was coming to take away my job.
Oh goodness, that's what you thought open science was about. Oh wow.
You know, my Nigerian friend, he presented on how to preserve indigenous knowledge.
Yeah.
And he said, if it comes to preservation of indigenous knowledge, it is that there shouldn't be too much openness. And I took her on. I said, no, even that there should be more openness. You know,
that they should.
There shouldn't be a limitation. Everything should be shared. We are just talking about sharing.
Yeah, we just have. Yeah.
Yeah. Go on.
No. It's okay. I'm just listening. Yeah. So everything should be shared, right?
Yes, we should share knowledge. Knowledge is universal. We can't leave anybody behind in knowledge generation and sharing. No, if you see, it's like cooking soup and putting a bad fish in it. If it works for Kenya and doesn't work for Ghana, we are not safe.
That is true.
The Ghana, if you like, the Ghana ignorance on some knowledge and some disciplines can affect you in Kenya in some way or the other.
That is true.
So we all need to come on board because it's knowledge generation, it's knowledge sharing. You see, so if we are all at par in the world, I'm sure the world will be a better place for all of us. Because I'll come to Kenya anyway. I'll come to Kenya. You come to Ghana. You are coming to Ghana next month. I know.
Yes, I am.
If something is wrong in Ghana, if we don't educate ourselves well on health matters, and you come to Ghana, are you going to be infected by any disease that is afflicting people in Ghana and take it to Nairobi and share? Are you getting the point? Because but if we are knowledgeable on these issues and preventing them in all our countries, I'm just giving a very classic example. Our countries will be disease-free. So when I come to your country, I'll come safely as I always do and come back. You come to mine, come back.
That is true.
There may not be any better illustration to give on this than what I'm giving now. So we all need to be at par with knowledge. We can't leave any country behind. So AFLIA is committed. And they've just renewed my mandate as the chair for the next 2 years again.
Congratulations. Congratulations. And well done.
I'm going to work even more harder, if there's a word like that, to ensure that we promote open science.
Fantastic.
As I said, let me pay tribute to Professor Kisiedu. Professor Kisiedu was an academic librarian. He taught at the library school, University of Ghana. He taught for many, many years.
Right.
And almost every librarian you can think about in Ghana now was taught by her. She was personally my supervisor for my MA project work. And she became the university librarian for University of Ghana for many years. I mean, you can't talk about the library fraternity in Ghana without mentioning Professor Kisiedu.
Right.
She passed, unfortunately, yesterday, and we are all mourning her.
May she rest in peace.
She has affected all of us, and may gentle soul rest in peace.
Yes, may she rest in peace. Yeah. So thank you so much, Mark. I really enjoyed this this podcast. Yes. I hope to get in touch with you soon, and hopefully we'll be able to meet in Ghana. Very soon for the AFLIA conference.
In Ghana shortly, in the men's time.
Yes. Okay then. Thank you, and do have a lovely day.
Thank you as always, you.
And enjoy the rest of your stay right now in the UK.
You too.
Bye for now.
Bye for now. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks for joining us on today's episode of Mazungumzo Podcast. Be sure to subscribe and follow us on all our channels for more updates and for candid stories by researchers, policymakers, higher education leaders, and innovators on their journeys. See you in our next episode.